Okay, so one of the things that can happen is the person can come to grab hold of us. One of the first things I want to be able to do if he's showing me aggressive behavior, he starts to walk forward, is I'm just going to step back and adjust the space. I want to create a place where I can continue to communicate with him. If he's really menacing me, I really feel like violence is coming, I can move around behind a piece of furniture. I can continue to talk to him, but just sort of maneuver myself around the room, put objects between us. My goal isn't to control him. My goal is to continue to provide supports and to help him regain control of himself. I can't do that if we're in a fight. It doesn't serve anybody. Every time I touch him, or every time we engage with him physically, there's an opportunity to get injured. There's an opportunity for him to get injured. A lot of the people that we're providing supports to have extensive trauma histories, and if they engage physically with us in some sort of a fight or some kind of a conflict, we risk reactivating old trauma for him. So we want to completely stay clear of this, if we can. One of the things to realize is a lot of times we talk about grabs of the wrist, grabs of the hands, and we treat them as if they're all attacks, and they typically aren't. Typically, somebody grabbing your hand isn't really assaulting you. They're trying to communicate something with you. Hey, they're really excited. Maybe they're so excited that people with, psychiatric disability or head injury, they may be so excited and so sort of emotionally aroused that they can't speak. And what they might be doing is, communication by motor gestures, and they might be grabbing a hold of you in order to try to communicate with you. It's important not to overreact, to kind of make a good assessment, to understand what it is that we're looking at any given moment. But let's say, he does get a hold of my hand. One of the things that we have to also keep in mind is if this were to develop into something aggressive that I have to respond to, this probably isn't really the problem. This hand has me. Like if he was going to hit me with his other hand, and he raised his hand to hit me, I would just move. The trouble is if he gets a hold of me first, and now he raises up, moving is a little bit more difficult because he's got control of me. So what we're going to do is just close our hand, and we're going to move from our elbow. My rear leg is going to move first. So when that fist comes up, I'm going to move, create some distance between us. A lot of programs that we've, maybe some students have been used to before really focus on the breakaway. Okay, so don't really hit me hard, but hit me on top of the head. Okay, so wait, when I tell you, just hit me on the head. Okay, so if all I do is focus on the breakaway and not movement, I still get hit. So I escape this, but I still get hit. So I escape this, but I still get hit. Good. So moving, escaping the grip, but not moving away from the hand isn't really helpful, because this is not the problem, it's the other hand that might be the problem. So one more time, I close my hand because he's got short sleeves on now, but if he had longer sleeves, and my hand is open, when I go to extract my hand, I might get caught in fabric, and again, I injure my hands. So I close my hand, move from here, and my rear leg moves first, and I created a lot of distance. If this was an assault, if this was an attack, he's so hyper-aroused, so dysregulated that he's trying to hit me, he might not stop just because I moved. I mean, just because I get away, he might still come and hit me anyway. So movement is really, really important. I might need to move and say, stop, talk to me. Get ready for the next thing. Okay. So if he grabs me across the body, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to close my hand, bend from my elbow, and then just move my rear foot back. This is going to come right to my chest, not to my face. If my hand suddenly accelerates because he releases me, and I might punch myself in the face, and then I injured myself. The other thing I got to be aware of is there might be people around me. So if I make a big gesture, a big movement, somebody behind me might get hit by me escaping from my hand. So I really want to try to contain my motion within the confines of my body. Really, if I assess this guy's, he's angry, he's coming to grab my hand, can grab my hand angrily. I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to let him grab my hand. I mean, that's the thing, is to stay aware and to respond to the threat. Don't wait until they have a hold of you, and now I have to do some sort of technique that might actually escalate things. I need to move, make an adjustment of the space. But let's say I'm late, he does get a hold of me. Okay. He has two hands on one this time. Okay. Both his hands are occupied, he can't hit me anymore, but he might be able to headbutt me or pull me into a bite or kick me. I'm going to do the exact same thing, so really we're still really only talking about one skill. My hand reaches and grabs, gets control of my own hand, and then my rear foot moves again, and I go right back to my chest and create space. So again, take my own hand, right back to my chest, create space. So back up just a little bit. Okay. This time when I get away, I want you to come after me. Okay. So he gives me both hands, grab my own hand, pull out. If he keeps coming, then I can adjust the space again. So I have to stay connected to him. Just because I get away doesn't mean this is over. He may be, continuing to escalate. Anybody dysregulated enough to hit you or grab a hold of you, as soon as you get away, that doesn't mean they're going to go sit down and put widgets together, or sit down and read a book, or sit down and watch TV or something. They may still persist in their attack, and you have to be ready for their next action. Notice also, I'm keeping my hand at the midline of my body. So when I go to release, I'm always bringing my hand right back to my sternum, midline of my body. That's the safest place for me in terms of my own musculature. I don't want to be moving off to the periphery trying to pull away. It can end up injuring my shoulder. So one more time. Okay. Okay, so there's another wrist grab that, actually these things are typically not very threatening and they're probably usually communication, but there's another kind of way to get grabbed. That actually happens sort of frequently, and that's what we're calling an inverted grab. It might be that I have to help Drew with his eye drops, so I go, let me help you with your eye drops, and he freaks out and he stops me. And if he suddenly escalates and starts hitting me with my own hands, hit me with my own okay. You might get me that way, I'm trying, or he starts kicking me or something like that. That can happen a lot. Or if I'm going to help him with his hygiene, hey, let me comb that hair for you. Oh, shoot, he's got me. Probably what I want to do is say, okay, geez, okay, let me go, okay, I'm sorry. It might be I overwhelmed him, So what I'll try to do is ask him to please, I'm going to have to monitor him because I don't want him kicking me or escalating once he gets me here. Maybe I can just get him to let go by asking, hey, Drew, let me go, I'm sorry. Okay, good. So then I won't come at him again. We'll take it a little slower. Maybe I needed to ask him first, can I help you with your hair? Or can I help you with your eye drops? Maybe standing isn't a good thing to do. Maybe we should sit at a table. If I know that he's just impulsively grabs out at whatever comes near his space, I might need to plan for that a little bit. Maybe sit down to create the environment so that isn't as likely. But let's just look away. Let's see if he gets a hold of my hands. And I feel like this is going to a bad place. He tries to kick me or tries to hit me or something. This is going to, I need to move. I need to get away as he's escalating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just close my hands to protect my fingers. I'm going to flare my elbows just slightly and then step back with my rear foot and go straight down. Okay? So, close my fingers to protect them, flare my elbows slightly, come out, get some space. The reason I'm flaring my elbows slightly is because that changes the shape of his grip. If his grip is here and I just go straight down, I'm working against his thumbs and I can kind of hurt that joint. So what I'm doing by flaring my elbows a little bit is I turn his hands down and it's safer for him. Also notice if I come straight out, watch Drew's posture. If I don't bend forward, if I bend forward, it brings him forward. So if I go like this and he comes forward, we might bang heads. This time is when I bring his hands down, watch my back, I keep my back straight, and that keeps him from coming so far forward, and it makes it less likely for him to bang heads with me, to hurt his neck or hurt his back. It's sort of whiplash. Where if I pull down and bend my body forward, that makes his body more inclined to come forward, and it might kind of hurt his neck.